Howdy, gang. Wanted to give you a quick update on how my dad is doing, plus what you can expect from the Gaming Gang channel over the next few weeks. First off, today at 8:30 a.m. Chicago time, my dad underwent triple bypass surgery and came through it like a champ. In fact, two of the surgeons asked if my dad drank a lot of milk, and I said, I wouldn't say a lot of milk, but he drinks milk with his coffee, and usually before he goes to bed, he'll have a small glass of milk. And they asked, does your dad drink any soda? And I said, not really. They said, yeah, we could tell. I said, really? How did you tell? And they said, because your dad's breastbone was the hardest breastbone we've ever had to crack. So there you go. Milk does a body good. And I guess if you drink a lot of soda, I guess especially cola, that phosphorus acid actually blocks the absorption of calcium in your body. So I guess if you drink a lot of soda, that breastbone would have been easy to crack. I didn't know that about the soda, so I'll be drinking a little bit more water from here on out. Anyway, I was at the hospital today at 6:15 before they prepped my dad for surgery, and my brother and his wife were there, and then my cousin showed up. And as they took my dad out, instead of going to the waiting area, we informed the nurses that we were just going to go to my brother's house because he literally, and I understand the definition of literally, lives 5 minutes away. So we went over there. And of course, throughout the surgery, we were getting texts telling us how the process was coming around. We did have a little bit of a scare because we got a call from the OR nurse telling us that they were wrapping up. It was about 12:45. We were told they were wrapping up and my dad would be back in the ICU at 1:00. So come back to the hospital and wait in the waiting area and the surgeons would come and talk with us. Okay, so we raced back over to the hospital and we're there waiting. 1:00 hits. Nobody comes to talk to us. 2:00 rolls around. We haven't talked to anybody. And we had taken a peek in the ICU. My dad wasn't back in his room. 3:00 rolled around. Hadn't talked to anybody. Dad's still not back in the ICU. So I told my brother that when you have bypass surgery, because 13 months ago I had a triple bypass, but when you have bypass surgery, once the surgery is over, they put you in a recovery area right next to the OR, and then they observe you for about an hour to make sure you're stabilized and everything looks good before you go back to the ICU. So I told my brother, maybe something's going on in recovery. Hopefully nothing serious. Well, it wasn't anything real serious. I guess there was some seepage. And I assume the seepage was from the stitches, not from the chest tubes. But I'm not positive. But that was the holdup. So my dad was back in the ICU at 4:00. Still had the breathing tube in. He was still under sedation. And we were told, thankfully, the breathing tube would come out tonight, because originally they thought it might stay in until tomorrow morning. So they were going to take him off the breathing tube tonight. But he wouldn't be awake and he wouldn't be off the breathing tube by the time visiting hours ended. So we were like, okay. So wasn't much I could do. So I came home because I'm not a doctor. I'm not a nurse. If you watch this channel, you know I'm a barely comprehensible reviewer, right? So anyway, so everything looks good, but this is just the first step. And I've had two people who were very close to me in life undergo bypass surgery. This is what concerned me when I had my triple bypass. They had surgery. They got through it. They were in recovery. And they say that the first 30 days is what you got to get through. And if you get past that, your outlook is really good. But you got to get past that 30 days. And both of them did not. So, like I said, it's a hard slog. I think my dad's up to the challenge, though. We certainly know his breastbone was. So what's cooking for the gaming gang over the next few weeks? So tomorrow, no show. I'm not doing a show tomorrow. I'll be at the hospital for most of the day. On Wednesday, though, I am going to look to do a live show on the 13th. I don't know if there's going to be a news portion to the show, but we are going to take a first look at Call of Cthulhu, Cults of Cthulhu from Chaosium Inc. I know a lot of people out there have been really interested in this book. It is nominated for an Emmy, and we are going to dive in as long as everything is still going well with my dad, obviously. Next week is Comic-Con. On Monday, there should be a show, and I am going to be reviewing the Index card role-playing game from Modifius Entertainment and a Runehammer, and I will share my thoughts about this Rules Light D20 role-playing game, tell you if it's worth picking up, and who I think will enjoy it the most. So stay tuned for that. The rest of the week, I don't think there's going to be shows. Well, I can tell you there won't be any show on Wednesday because I'm supposed to fly out first thing Wednesday morning because that is preview night, and that is when our hotel kicks in. So I had already pointed out in my first update that there is about $2,000 in deposits and airfare that people have shelled out already that they would lose if we don't go. I'm flying out on a buddy pass. So depending on what the loads look like Wednesday morning, I'm flying out Wednesday morning. If they don't look good, I'm going to fly out Tuesday night. So, and then we'll just get a room for, my brother and I will just get a room wherever for that night. I am going to do my best to actually put up some videos from Comic-Con. There's some different panels, some different round tables. I've got some appointments already set up. The round tables, the panels, I don't know. I have submitted a request. And a lot of times with these panels and round tables, you don't find out until like a day or two before they actually have them, whether you've been approved to attend or not. So I have no idea. But I do want to try to get some of the Comic-Con stuff out there while we're at Comic-Con as opposed to waiting till I get back. So there is that. The week after that, the final week of July, I should have 3 shows. So it's the week between Comic-Con and Gen Con. So once again, knock on wood, I'll have 3 shows, and it's going to be Hyperborea week. That's right, because the 3rd edition of Astonishing Swordsmen and Sorcerers of Hyperborea, or what's now known as Hyperborea, has arrived. That's right, the Kickstarter has fulfilled. So that Monday, I am going to share a first look at the player's manual. Then on that Tuesday, we're going to take a peek at the referee's manual. And then that Wednesday, we'll do a little bit of a double dip, take a peek at the Atlas, and then the first adventure for the new Hyperborea, and that is the last Trapper's Lament. So we will be taking a peek at Hyperborea all that week. Gen Con week, I will have a show on Monday. I'll do a Monday show. I go down to Indy on Wednesdays. So even though Gen Con doesn't start until August 4th, I think it is, off the top of my head, I go the day before because there's some retailer stuff. There's usually stuff that the press can attend. And I also drop stuff off at the auction as well. So should have a show on Monday, probably not that Tuesday, because I tend to leave pretty early Wednesday morning to drive from the Chicago suburbs, the rather far western Chicago suburbs, to Indianapolis. So a lot going on, not as many shows as usual. Obviously, you can see why. I know there's probably some folks out there who are wondering, well, Jeff, your dad's undergoing rehab from, or recovering, I should say, from a triple bypass. Why are you doing streams? And for one, there's only so many hours of the day that I can spend at the hospital. You know, I'm not doing anything. And I can certainly say when I had my triple bypass, one of the things that made me feel a lot better when I think it was 2 or 3 weeks before I did my first show, because my voice was blown. In fact, the first few shows and videos I did, my voice was still kind of, cracked, loud, and kind of weak. It was kind of hard for me to project. But it makes me feel good. It cheers me up. You know, things have been very hectic, very stressful the past few days, nearly a week. So that's why I'm doing the streams, because it makes me feel better. So that is why, and there's nothing I can really do as far as, there's no difference between spending 6 hours at the hospital and 10 hours at the hospital, Anyway, all right. Last thing I do want to mention, thank you so much, everybody out there, for all those kind thoughts and prayers you sent my dad's way. It is so appreciated. You really have touched my bypassed heart, and it really means a lot to me. My dad couldn't believe how many complete strangers were sending get well wishes to him, and it really brought a smile to his face. It really, really did. So thank you so much. Thank you all a whole lot. All right, so that's it for the update. Everything's going well. Fingers crossed. Keep going. Like I said, it's a hard slog ahead, but I think my dad's got it in him. And until I see you next time, here's hoping each and every one of you get to enjoy plenty of great gaming with your gang. Thanks again, everybody.